What is going on, guys? This is Youngling Jr. So, Bishop Lamor Whitehead, remember that bishop from Brooklyn? Uh, he came well known in his congregation due to his flashy lifestyle, but also to, I think earlier this year, he was robbed. Okay. He was robbed by some people and at gunpoint in the middle of his service. Now he's actually in federal custody, okay, of these of these charges here, man, with the Fed. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this overview here. It's a little lengthy, but just please bear with me. This is a lot of information, but I just want to go ahead and just talk about this. So they said the United States District Court, a Southern District of New York, United States of America versus Lamor Whitehead. He's a defendant. So the overview, the charges is in this indictment arise from a course of conduct in which Lamor Whitehead, the defendant, sought money and other things of value from victims on the basis of either threats or false promises that the victims' investments, which Whitehead would benefit the victims financially. And so I know allegedly, I'm gonna still say allegedly, but right now he had a relationship, I guess, with this woman here. Well, as far as like her money, he offer her some hope, right? False hope. It was $90,000 out of her retirement. Now, this was dated back into April, and I believe it was like last year in the course of 18 months. And, instead of, him investing that money, right? He said, I was going to buy a home for her and invest the rest. He ended up buying luxury things and personal items for his own well-being. It's crazy, man. And he was lying to the FBI of these cases. So the feds just got him. On the basis of either threats or false promises that the victim's investments, which Moorhead was benefit victims financially. In fact, Whitehead, who leads a church in Brooklyn, New York, attended to and did defraud the victims by taking their money and other property with no intention of investing in it. So scam artists, returning it or enriching the victims. Number two, from at least in or about April 2020 up to and including in or about July 2021, Lamor Whitehead, the defendant, elicited approximately $90,000 from the individual who attended his church. That was victim number one, through a series of cell phone and internet communications with victim one and her son. Under the terms of their agreement, Whitehead would use the money to assist victim one in obtaining a home, and after doing so, Whitehead would otherwise be able to use the money as an investment in his real estate business. However, shortly after victim one transferred Whitehead the money from her retirement savings, can't believe she trusts him, man. But still, again, you taking advantage of your of that individual. It's sad. Whitehead instead used victim one's money to purchase thousands of dollars of luxury goods and clothing, and he continued to use victim one's money for his own purposes. Whitehead never helped victim one obtain a home and has not returned victim one's money despite her request that he do so. Number three, in or about April and May 2022, Lamor Whitehead, the defendant, attempted to convince a businessman, was victim number two, to lend Whitehead approximately $500,000. This was the crazy part. $500,000 and give him a stake in certain real estate transactions. So Whitehead told victim two that in exchange for this money and interest in real estate transactions, Whitehead would obtain favorable actions by the New York City government for victim two that will enrich both Whitehead and victim two, when Whitehead knew that he had no ability to obtain such actions. Despite that knowledge, Whitehead told victim two that they would make millions. Jesus Christ. Give me $500,000, we're going to make millions of dollars. I'm just using that money for his own good. That's crazy. Number four, near the beginning of his relationship with victim two, Lamor Whitehead, the defendant, also used threats of force to obtain $5,000 from a business owned by a victim two. At the direction of law enforcement, victim two made a payment to Whitehead. During the course of the investigation into the conduct of Lamor Whitehead, the defendant's special agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation executed a search warrant for cell phones on the persons of Whitehead. So Whitehead told the agents that he owned only the cell phone, which was then on his person. But when Whitehead knew that he in fact owned a second cell phone, which he regularly used before and after the execution of the warrant, including to send a text message in which Whitehead identified phone 2 as my other phone, shortly after telling the agents that he had no other phones. So the grand jury charges the allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 5 and above are hereby repeated, alleged, and incorporated by reference as is fully set forth hereon. So from at least in or about April 2020 up to and including in or about June 2021 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Lamor Whitehead, the defendant, having devised and intending to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and for obtaining money and property by means of false and fraudulent pretenses, representations and promises transmitted and caused to be transmitted by means of wire, radio, and television communications and interstate foreign commerce, writings, signs, signals, pictures, and sounds for the purpose of executing such scheme and artifice, to wit, Whitehead made material misrepresentations to victim one and her son to obtain money from victim one as a purported real estate investment, which he received in part through use of an interstate wire, when he in fact intended to use the investment in whole or in part for personal purposes. It's crazy. And this was like under sections 1343 and 2. Count 2. Man, the grand jury further charges the allegations contained in paragraphs 1 through 5 and above hereby repeated, alleged, and incorporated by reference as it fully set forth hereon. In or about April and May 2022 in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Lamor Whitehead, the defendant, having devised and intending to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud and for obtaining money and property by means of false and fraudulent pretenses, representations, and promises transmitted and caused to be transmitted by means of the wire, radio, television communications. Okay. Interstate communications. Count 3. We'll just skip through this. February 2022 through in and about April 2022, Southern District, New York. Violence. Okay. So count 4, count 5. Wow. All right. So as I, scrolling through this, I'm gonna put this in the link in the description box. I'm gonna read the substitute asset, a provision. If any of the above described forfeitable property as a result of any act or admission of the defendant cannot be located upon an exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold to or deposited with a third person, has been placed beyond the jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, and last, has been commingled with other property which cannot be subdivided without difficulty, it is the intent of the United States, pursuant to Title 21, United States Code, Section 853, and Title 28, United States Code, Section 2461C, to seek forfeiture of any property of the defendant of the value of above affordable property. So yeah, so all the money that he used and he scammed out of these victims here, if any property that he utilized that money for his own personal gain or any type of estate, he's gonna have to give that up. He's gonna have to forfeit that, and of course, he had to give the money right back to the people. And the people are going to get their money back that he scammed out of. So any personal things, like I said, these suits or these cars, anything, the flashy stuff that he used that money for, that he was supposed to, give hope to the people that he's supposed to invest in, the feds are giving that back, and they're going to give it right back to the victims. And they said, according to this article, man, when I was reading it on CNN, that he can face a maximum of 65 years in prison, at least 20 years of each count. That is crazy. So it's not looking good for Bishop Lamor Whitehead. I don't think they posted bail for him yet, but this is why the Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. All you have to do is really preach the word of God, and God will supply. I mean, maybe he's greedy. I don't get it. At the end of the day, why would you? And you got to be a cold person, right? Taking an elderly person's retirement fund and you giving them false hope, and not even doing, and you reneging on your ideal. Not even doing what you were supposed to do with it. And my thing is, yeah, you can probably get down on that victim. Like, why would you go ahead and trust this man? But you don't know the emotional and, I guess, so-called spiritual connection she probably had at first with Bishop Lamor Whitehead. But at the end of the day, man, this is wrong. He gonna have to pay for this. If this, like I said, if this is true, like I'm gonna say allegedly, you're innocent until proven guilty, but it's not looking good. I believe they have some amount of evidence right now to have the confidence enough to arrest him and execute this search warrant for him. So that's the biggest update for Bishop Lamor Whitehead. I'm definitely going to key into this case. Look into other content creators talking about this, but this is not good. This is an embarrassment to him and his congregation. And I don't know I don't know if the church is going to be shut down or it's going to be another co-pastor that's probably going to take over. But it's something going on, man. It's something spiritually that he needs to clean up. But this is the price he's paying. So y'all like, comment, subscribe, share this video. For more information, it will be in the description box. I love you guys. I'm out. Deuces.